Welcome to the latest video updates from RICS about cladding and valuation. Previous videos have provided updates following latest MHCLG guidance for England. This video is to update members about the EWS process and form, which we launched on the 16th of December 2019. We will talk about why we introduced the EWS, how it works, information about the technical content, how it relates with the latest MHCLG guidance, what the valuer needs to look for, who can complete the EWS, and how it relates to the valuation. So why did we introduce the EWS? Concerns around external wall systems have grown, initially focusing on ACM cladding and systems, but subsequently around other types of cladding such as HPL. Since Grenfell, government policy was created in England banning combustible cladding material on newly built property over 80 metres with effect from 21st of December 2018. Government has also directed that ACM external wall systems in certain circumstances are to be removed from tall residential buildings. It became apparent that current concerns around building regulations in England and Wales and building warrants in Scotland questioned whether we as valuers could continue using the assumption that building regulations and building warrants confirmed the wall system would be free from combustible materials requiring remediation. RICS set about thinking whether a new valuation process was needed, and if so, who needs to be involved. RICS led a cross-industry workstream comprising valuers, lenders, developers, housing associations, fire engineers, lawyers, to develop a new process to ensure that valuers and lenders know whether remedial works are required, and from that, whether valuation would be affected. From this workstream, the EWS form and process was developed. The call from all was simplicity and clarity, and the pro forma was considered the most workable solution. RICS launched the EWS on December the 16th, 2019. This is a cross-industry agreed process, and the EWS itself is a joint initiative between RICS, UK Finance, Building Societies Association and supported by MHCLG. So how does the EWS work? A pro forma EWS has been created to be provided to the RICS valuer and to the lender during the valuation process. The EWS form is a clear and transparent pro forma completed by a fire expert on behalf of the building owner who will advise whether works are required. You should always obtain the EWS form where the building appears to comprise or does comprise combustible materials to the external wall system or balconies. This has been agreed as the industry standard approach to confirming whether works are required. You as the valuer do not complete the EWS, the fire expert completes the EWS. It is one EWS per block, and it is the building owner or their agent that obtains this. We do not expect one EWS form per apartment. It is the external wall system of the block as a whole which needs to be assessed, not the external wall system forming the external wall of the subject apartment in isolation. The EWS is the agreed process to know whether wall systems comprise combustible materials and whether works are needed. It is likely lenders will provide standard paragraphs for you to use when you either request or have sight of an EWS form. Refer to lender guidance, but it is important that you confirm to the borrower your role and responsibilities in using the EWS to form a valuation, and a paragraph has been created for you to use in your report. It is important a disclaimer is used in all reports. Turning to the EWS itself, your role is to use the EWS in your valuation. You are not verifying its content, but you should always check that the person who has completed the form has completed the information set out in notes 2 and 3, and that the information in the EWS form is complete and appears to make sense. RICS has also worked on a further paragraph for RICS firms to agree with their lender client. This also must be used, or a similar form of words to that suggested, and this again clarifies what will happen in the event of a claim. I am now going to talk you through the form itself. You will note on the pro forma there are two options, option A and option B. Option A will be completed where the building does not contain materials likely to support combustion, or does contain materials likely to support combustion, but only to an addition, such as a balcony. A1 and A2 are not likely to lead to any further action, but you should refer to lender guidance and always reflect in your valuation where necessary. A3 will be completed where there are combustible materials, but only to an addition, such as a balcony. Where A3 is highlighted by the fire experts, you should refer to lender guidance or ask for the cost of remedial works and reflect in your valuation. Balconies of combustible materials have been confirmed to represent a fire risk, but the cost of remediation is considered to be usually lower than external wall systems. Therefore, lender guidance may require a different action, such as retention of a set amount. Where lender guidance does not exist or lender guidance does not adequately reflect the impact on value, you should request remediation costs and reflect in your valuation. Option B is where there are known combustible materials in the external wall system. B1 is where there are combustible materials, but in the fire expert's opinion, works are not required. This will be because other mitigating circumstances exist. B1 is not likely to lead to further action, but you should refer to lender guidance and reflect in your valuation where necessary. Option B2 is where works are required. You should obtain the cost of remediation works, refer to lender guidance and reflect in your valuation. Where RICS valuer members request further information about the external wall system or an addition, such as a balcony, RICS members must have sight of the EWS form and ensure its content is adequately recorded for future reference, together with a full rationale for the valuation advice given. This will not only ensure the context of the valuation advice is understood, but also mean that adequate records are available in the event of a future query.
Now we're going to discuss who can complete the form. The EWS form must only be completed by competent chartered professionals with suitable fire expertise. Please note that the valuer does not complete this form or select which option is suitable. The fire expert does this, and it is for the fire expert to assess which option is most appropriate. RICS members and firms with suitable fire expertise may be involved in the completion of an EWS form. Commonly, we would expect members to be from the building control or building surveying professional groups with a high level of competence in assessing the fire performance of cladding, insulation, other materials and systems as a whole. Qualified fire engineers with the Institute of Fire Engineers, IFE, are more likely to be undertaking this specialist work with the appropriate professional indemnity insurance. RICS members and firms are reminded not to undertake work which is clearly outside of their competence, skills, knowledge and experience, and must have agreed with their professional indemnity insurers cover for this work. We're now going to discuss how does the form relate to MHCLG Consolidated Advice Note for Building Owners issued on 20th of January 2020. The EWS is a form and process to assess a building in the context of whether remedial works are required to the external wall system. RICS guidance about below 18 metre buildings will be issued in due course. MHCLG is repeating that the fire risk assessment should include the external wall system. The EWS form is designed for this purpose. Latest guidance from MHCLG does not alter the EWS process or form. We're now going to discuss, should I ask for an EWS for issues not related to the external wall system? The answer is that the EWS is a form and process to answer concerns about the specific issue of the external wall system and attachments. The form, process and technical notes have been created for this specific purpose. Do not request the EWS for other fire-related issues. These should be raised in the same way you would have done before the introduction of the EWS, where you consider the issues to be material to value or need reporting within the context of the assignment. And now we're going to discuss, is the intent of Note 9 of the EWS form that existing external wall constructions should comply with the guidance and building regulations in existence at the time of the assessment as opposed to the time of construction? Specifically, does it require compliance with the latest version of ADB or the 2018 amendments to the building regulations? The answer is no. Genuine compliance with the functional requirements of Part B to Schedule 1 of the building regulations at the time of construction is sufficient. However, we are aware that the technical content of approved document B has changed over the years and that further information on the performance of various materials and products has become available in recent times. Similarly, there are buildings that were signed off as complying with ADB when they did not comply. Commonly, we are seeing examples of cladding that did not comply and missing fire cavity barriers. The EWS1 form is therefore based on an assessment of compliance with the regulations current at the time of construction. This is in line with conventional approaches to fire risk assessment, such as would be required for the interior of the building under the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order in England. The EWS1 form does not constitute, nor is it intended as a replacement for a fire risk assessment under the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order 2005 applicable in England. Therefore, the final paragraph of Note 9 is intended to ensure that assessors consider knowledge and guidance available at the time of assessment, as opposed to simply assuming that buildings are safe because they complied with guidance at the time of construction or were signed off as complying with the regulations at the time of construction.
I am now going to talk about the EWS process and Scotland. The EWS form and process is legislation neutral and works across the UK. However, RICS recognises the differences in the way properties are owned and managed, and that one building owner, person or entity does not exist in the same way it does in England and Wales. The EWS requires the external wall system to the entire block to be checked, and it is one form per block. We are working with various parties to see if a solution can be found, and we are working on separate words for the Scottish Single Survey. The purpose of the EWS is to confirm the situation with the entire block, and where an EWS is available per block, you can use this. If it is per flat, you should refer to lender guidance and point out that a form per block is needed. We will update with separate guidance for Scotland when we can. RICS will continue to update the video when changes happen. Further information on the EWS process is available on rics.org, and you should read this in full. You should take note about the comments made about obtaining legal advice, and you should use the clauses and disclaimers that we have mentioned within this video at all times. Thank you for watching.